You ready?
Yep.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Ash? Oh, okay.
You going next? Or am I?
What?
Hmm?
Oh, intro?
What's your rotation? Look, just making sure.
She's
man.
second.
Okay, just making sure.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is in your hood. I am absolutely Adia.
And it's your girl, Speak Volumes, Nicole.
I am the franchise.
And this is the quad. What's going on?
A lot.
A lot?
A lot.
Play that 21 Savage. That's when the 21 Savage come in.
How much money you got?
A lot.
That's a great
Hey, hey. Somebody said, you know you can't rap when you start off with a lot of hey.
Yeah, that's how they do it these days.
Yeah, he do a whole 16. Yeah.
21.
Savage.
Man, free that boy, man.
That's
right.
For
Let's
real.
start off
For
saying
real.
that. I think it's crazy. If you've been, when I read the backstory, you know, when the story came out about him being picked up by ICE, I was like, ICE?
That's
He
what I
been-
said.
Like, okay, I can see
Confused.
immigration, but ICE is
But even
supposed to be
immigration,
totally
right?
different. Well, when it said he had a clear visa in 2005, and I'm like, okay, he was an early teen, like 13, 14.
Yeah.
Clearly, he was here with a parent, some
Right.
type of
Right.
parental figure. And if it was only for 1 year, you know, my siblings are out of the country, so I have a little bit of experience. I'm like, okay, and he been here how long?
Right. Very long time.
Exactly.
And y'all just acting like,
They had to figure out who he was.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
No,
He already
they
had
was
They had to
trying to
investigate.
They was
Exactly.
trying to get him to do something he didn't want to do. That's
Yeah.
what I
It was
said.
like, oh, yeah, we
I'm
got
like,
something for you.
oh,
Yeah.
We
okay,
got
you don't
something
want to
for you.
cooperate?
Cool. We'll be in
Boy, I tell
Atlanta.
you.
yeah.
We waiting
I
on
was
you.
Yeah, we
like,
come
ain't
down.
no
Black Yukon. All right,
way.
that's cool.
Ain't no way that boy. That
Oh,
man
no, he
been
in
here
the
for all
what
these
he in?
years.
He in the
That's
what?
crazy.
Ain't no
Okay,
way.
yeah, we got that. We got
And
it.
has been to jail and
Exactly.
you know
That's
what
what
I
I'm
mean?
saying.
I was
They had a
like,
felony.
Mhm.
Like,
yeah,
think
I was
if
like,
some
the
gun
first time
charges-
he went to jail, he should have
He's been
been.
expunged
You would
down,
think.
but
Yeah,
Right.
you-
You would think.
You would know if you know what I know.
Right.
They don't miss much of anything else. But
Right.
now all of a sudden he been like he wasn't evading y'all.
No,
You know what I
Right.
mean?
he 21 Savage. I mean,
Right.
he hard,
Everybody
he
know
hard to miss.
where he live,
Okay.
who he dating, what he do.
Exactly.
You
How many
already know
kids
that.
he got?
A lot. But today's topic, we ain't about 21. We want to talk to y'all about black love.
Black love.
Grown folks. There.
Hey, you know,
Noir.
it's February. It's the month of love for most people. For most people.
Yeah.
Not everybody, but most of us celebrate love in February.
Yeah.
Oh, what, Valentine's Day?
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
In Black History Month. You know,
Yes,
Right.
it's a
yes.
good
Most
month for
important.
black
It is a
love.
great month,
Yeah.
even though we need to
So.
extend it, but we'll take it.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's all year round.
when
for me,
people
but,
say that, I'm like, well, we talk about it, we speak
Mhm.
about it, we learn it all
Yeah.
year.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
This is just a month that we celebrate it a little more. I'm okay with that.
Okay.
I'm good with that. I mean, you know, I
No,
I
I'm-
don't feel like I'm not so militant about it when we get on.
Yeah.
Nah, I think it's more of like, for me, it's more of a reminder, not necessarily for this month, but you know, for months
Right.
outside of February.
My kids always surprise me. This year was the first year. Kevin Hart has a special on Netflix. Have y'all seen it?
Mm-mm.
No.
Where
not.
he does really funny thing with the kids, and he goes through Black history, and they talk about different people and times and things in Black history or whatever. And Zuri, he had said something. Zuri's like, he didn't say so and so. I'm like, you know,
Yeah, really.
oh, okay,
That's
let
right.
me know what you know.
That's right.
But you know, she been on them books.
Hey man,
Yeah.
listen, we got to introduce them early. You know, they got to expand their minds beyond Martin Luther King. I mean, as great as Martin Luther King was, I don't
Right,
want that
yeah,
to
right,
be
right.
misunderstood. But beyond this, the ones that they want to put on us. You know what I'm saying?
Just like we talked about when your girl, what's her name, was on the show.
Ms. Ragsdale.
Yeah, Miss Ragsdale,
Konika.
Konika.
Mhm.
In her books and everything. Yeah, these kids are thirsty for knowledge, so
Mhm.
we
They
want to
do.
make sure we give it to them
Right, and
as
I
much
just-
as possible.
the thing is, for me, like, I realized, it's not that I didn't like history. It's just that I didn't like the history that I was being taught. I wasn't interested. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm,
Like, I wasn't
mhm.
interested, and I didn't realize it until I got a little older, and then I started learning more information. And I was like, oh, it's not that I don't like history. It's just that it wasn't something that reflected me.
Mhm.
So therefore, I wasn't as interested. You know what I mean? So we really have to make sure that we tap into what interests these kids, and what interests them is hearing about and reading about and learning about people who reflect them.
I think my mom, I don't know where she would get these posters from. I have to ask her. I believe it was somebody at her job. She had these, Budweiser used to make these Black History Month posters, and it would be like a calendar, but they would have like different historical figures, and it wasn't the ordinary. It'd be like Queen of Sheba and this person and that person.
Somebody.
Yeah, and that was what piqued my interest initially, just being African and having that background, wanting to know more about those people. And doing that research, it's like you find out so much, and so many powerful people and powerful women
Right.
in Black history, you know, in African history.
Exactly.
And it's surprising, but it's not, because we always say, it's one thing to say like we're great, we came from kings and queens, but they'd be saying that and can't even name, you know what I'm saying? And
Not
when you
one.
really go back and start doing the research and finding out, and it's so awesome, and you want to share that, you know, that knowledge and that information.
No question.
And I think that falls into Black love too, because just not, when we say Black love, we automatically assume that means like relationship or marriage.
No question.
But I think on all levels, as it relates to loving our children, loving our culture,
Loving yourself.
yeah. How do you show Black love towards the culture?
Well, you know, I'll say this. I don't own any Gucci. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I don't
Yeah,
own any
about
Gucci.
that. I won't own
Yeah,
Gucci.
I don't drink Starbucks. You know what I'm saying? I don't do any of those.
He's
I don't
running
get
for
my nails
president,
done.
right?
Who?
The guy from
Yeah.
Starbucks.
Oh, my
Starbucks
goodness.
guy.
Okay.
Really?
But I guess my point is that, like, when I see things happen in the media, and then we start talking about boycotting this and boycotting that, it always feels good for me, because I don't support those businesses, you know, and I don't have anything against them, but I prefer to support my own people, you know. So I prefer to support and show Black love by putting my dollars in those places. That's why when I see a new Black-owned business come up in my neighborhood, I'm over there. I'm tagging them on social media, because I feel like, as far as business-wise is concerned, you know, we need to circulate our dollars. That's how we show support. We circulate our dollars with those businesses. That's one aspect that's where we start. But that's what I'm teaching my kids as well. You need to support businesses. You know what I mean? It doesn't get them off the hook if they're bad businesses, but you need to make an effort, and you have to be intentional about supporting Black businesses.
Yeah. For me, I try to spread love in the most unique way that I can. Whether that's, you know, just encouraging somebody out of the blue, whether that's helping someone at work, whether that's, you know, I'll check on somebody else's grandmother. Like, you know, do you need me to pick up something for you? Do you need me to, like my son, one of his friends, Bryson, lives with his grandmother, being raised by his grandmother, and you know, she's up in age, and on weekend, hey, we got Bryson, we'll take him, you know, we'll you know, give you some time to rest. You need us to take him to the game, all right, cool. It's just, you know, being able to distribute yourself, you know, because you never know who needs that helping hand. And that's spreading love. That's giving, you know, that's giving somebody an opportunity to say, hey, somebody does care. Somebody, you know, sees what I'm dealing with, or, you know, I needed that, girl. Thank you so much for this, you know. So it's just, it's really about just doing it genuinely, just pouring into the community. Yeah, you know, it's that's what it's all about.
You know, and also I think, I mean, we're human beings, so we get influenced by other human beings,
right.
And certain things happen. Like, for instance, like this morning, I had a flat tire. I was on the side of the road, and two people stopped. Two people stopped to check on me, and they was two Black dudes. You know what I mean? Now, this is the thing. I can leave it there and keep it moving, but you know, I can't help it. I overanalyze everything. So what I wondered was, you know, if I and I'm not upset. I'm glad that they stopped to check on me, because that motivates me to be doing more of that for just people in general. But I wondered, like, okay, did they only stop because I was a Black dude? You know what I'm saying? Like, which is a great thing, but I just wondered about that. It doesn't matter.
I used to always stop for females. If I saw females in distress, I'd be like, "You good? You know?"
Yeah. So I wondered about that, but it was a great reflection of, for me, about, you know, the potential and the kindness and the goodness of just humanity. You know what I mean? Because I'm not the type of person, depending on where I'm going, to stop. I mean, I always see people, but you know, I'd be like, yo, somebody else will stop. But that act today, that motivated me to take a little bit more initiative and help people in need versus just, waiting on somebody else. Yeah. Black love.
Definitely. I also, of course, Black love, we see so much lately in the media that's been, OWN had their special on Black love. I know Essence Magazine did a thing about Black love, and you see it so much as it relates to marriages.
Yes.
So is that just a focus, like Black marriage equals Black love?
I think we have to create our own narrative, right? But I think that when you say love, people instantly think about relationships. So when you say Black love, people automatically think about relationships. Now, this is the problem, because people think about relationships as it relates to a heterosexual situation, right? So that means people are excluded from that. Black love means Black man, Black woman, family, and that's that. But that excludes a lot of people, right? So I think that we have to be intentional about expanding what that means to be more inclusive, because we are, by nature and by natural, depending on what your perspective is, we are excluding a lot of groups. I remember I was at a recent event with some brothers. It was a Dallas group. It was a young professionals Dallas group, and we were talking about empowerment, Black empowerment. We were having these discussions about some of the events they have coming up about like kings and queens and marriages and relationships, right? And then there was a brother in there who was he was homosexual, and he was like, do you not understand that when you have an event that is directed towards Black love and it's about kings and queens, do you understand how that is exclusive? It's excluding a whole group of people. You know what I mean? And it was a great discussion, but I think that it's important for those discussions to be had because, again, I think we can only see things from our own perspective. So it's important to invite other people in to broaden our perspective.
I never saw it as just that way. I think love, because I never see love as just one way.
Right.
I mean, I guess it's in the eye of the beholder.
No question.
As it relates to that point. And also for me, just as I've been thinking about it over the past few months, automatically for me it would be my relationship with my girls. As a single parent, that's still Black love.
Big time.
And with a teenage daughter, just wanting to reinforce in her the self-love, as Black love, and making sure that she's in a good mental space, in a healthy space on what loving yourself means, what loving your culture means. She said something so crazy to me about her skin tone. Her dad is very, very dark skinned, and she's, brown. And she's been playing tennis, so she's getting darker. And she said, I think I'm turning my dad's complexion, a skin color. And I was like, girl, what? You don't turn. You can't. Right. That's not a thing.
Yeah.
But just, you know what I'm saying? Because in her mind and I knew this was going to happen. Zuri's dad is very light-skinned, very, very, very fair. Hispanic people think he's Hispanic. He's very, very pale. He don't get enough sun. But having a light-skinned sister, that's something that's constantly in her face.
Right.
It's just not loving her skin and what she sees in the mirror, because she compares it to the love that Zuri gets. And I always tell her in the beginning, I was like, it's a baby. So, people see a baby and they're like, oh, she's so cute. And it's a 6-year-old.
Right.
And they don't acknowledge, you know what I'm saying? A 6-year-old and a baby. And they're like, oh, the baby's so cute. Okay, but this little girl right here, she cute too.
Right.
And so she internalized that as I'm not as pretty as her because she's fair. But I always try to reinforce that. And I'm like, you look like me if you don't look. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So just self-loving her hair, her skin, her features. She has very full lips, and she makes, made a comment about that. And I'm like, girl, you have to embrace you.
Right.
Nobody else is you. Nobody else can do the things you do. And that's one of the reasons why I gifted her the business, because I wanted her to take ownership and take pride in her look, her being herself, in the fullness of her. As it relates to love, because especially in dating, if you don't love you,
it's very hard.
if you don't love you, it's hard to get anybody else to buy into something you not even buying into. You know,
exactly. Yeah.
If you don't buy into loving you, why would anybody else buy into it?
Yeah, and I'm sure Nicole, being a mother of a young boy
and a mentor for young girls,
and a mentor for young girls. I guess I was just thinking about because I know that we have children around the same age, and I know we have daughters around the same age.
Yeah.
But I was wondering about just as a mother and having a young black boy.
Yeah.
How challenging is that for you when it comes to the topic of like self-love? How is that?
Well, for one, me and Braylon have a very unique relationship. I can say this, that we basically have grown up together. I was 19 when I had him, and he will be 10 in November. So it's really just been a give and take situation with him, because raising a boy, you don't want to give him too much love, be too soft on him, and then you're pressured to have this, you got to show him tough love because you're raising a boy.
Right.
But the way that I teach Braylon, you have to have standards, and I teach him the values of being a young man, opening up a door for a woman. You know, he helps me. He takes off my shoes sometimes, or he'll come up to me, "Hey, Ma, I love you. I love you too, big man." And it's just random moments. Getting in the kitchen, cooking together. We made crazy videos together. I allowed him to make a Snapchat and an Instagram. We share our love through art. We both love drawing. We both love the camera. So, I express my love with him, and the way that we bond, our uniqueness. It really opens up his eyes to say, hey, my mom, she's cool, but she'll get on my butt at the same time.
Right.
So I'm giving him that motherly love, that caring, that soft touch. But, hey, you got to stick to it. You got to keep your head in the game, not just in basketball, that's school, that's everything. All across the board, everything. And I really try to instill in him to have his own mind, and not get caught up with everything that's around him. Like, I talk to him like, we sitting here talking right now. I don't try to baby him. I never babied him when he was little. It's always been, hey, I don't know if this is going to be me and you or not, but this is how this thing has to go.
Right.
But I love you. At the end of the day, I love you, and that's how I get it done. I just find ways to see what's common between me and him. What does he love to do? What do I like to do? Okay, we can do this together. We can express ourselves through love, through this particular, this task or whatever it may be, this hobby. And that's how we do it. That's how we get it done. I just, I really push to him to be respectful at all times. Being a boy, being third grade, sometimes you get caught up in your friends.
No
and,
question.
The
Just
lingo,
the
lingo starts to change, and they start smelling themselves a little bit, and it's just like, all right, hold on, brother, let's bring that thing back around. Let's bring that back around.
I know with me, like going back to what you were saying about the little girl, like I have a little girl, I'm a little chocolate baby. Morgan, what's up, baby?
Hey.
But it's always a concern of mine, and I try to think about where that derives from, and I think it's just the fact that the world that we live in, social media, the media itself, the portrayals of what beauty is and this and that. I mean, because she's a brown skinned girl, and that's always my concern. It's just
but I broke
herself.
it down to as a day, because I'm like, you're old enough to understand, and we've had these conversations. I said, you have to understand this. For years and centuries of time, people have been conditioned to think lighter is better, just automatically, not even on a race thing. The color, definition, like in Malcolm X, they look up the definition of white, the definition of black. And not just that, but you're bombarded subconsciously with commercials, television, magazines, everything. And I said, people don't even realize I do it. And I realize it. Like, you'll see a baby, you'll see a little light-skinned baby, you be like, oh, that baby's so cute. And it's just an automatic thing because you've been conditioned to like that. I said, so, sometimes it's not even a personal thing. It's just something that people have been conditioned to learn and to like for so long that, we're seeing such a wave now, which is kind of like the 70s wave of just the self-love and self-acceptance, where everybody's wearing natural hair is more accepted now than it's ever been. women are wearing less makeup. Women are loving their features more. You know, the features are more accepted now than it's ever been. You know, for years we tried to conform and, you know, tone down and not play up things. And now it's more of an acceptance of us. You know, is black women, is black men too. Just in black bodies and being comfortable in black spaces. I know one big thing is always the stereotype of black women being loud. And they kind of own it now. And it's kind of like, you know, it's like, that's
us. Take it or leave it.
I'm black and proud.
You know,
that's where that came from.
Say it loud.
Get in trouble in college because they be like, you guys are so loud. It'd be a gang of us.
Right.
You know, we be having a good time, you know, fun, laughing, haven't seen each other. Hey, girl, hey, you know.
Be caught up in our own world.
Yeah, it's kind of thing. And for so long, that was seen as a negative. And now you see movies like Girls Trip and, you know, all these things that kind of celebrate that sisterhood, that power in black women, that strength where we lean on each other and we support each other and we're loud for each other and it's a good thing. And I love that because I reinforce that, you know, in my girls. And it's as simple as they had some earrings at the Chinese hair supply, but they had some $1 earrings of like these black chicks with like natural hair and stuff, and I bought her a bunch of them because I'm just like, it's the representation, you know, it's just great for you to see and just reinforcing and be comfortable in and have that. Because I know we talked about it on a Black Panther episode where I was like, I shied away growing up from anything that made me look more African because I just didn't want to be made fun of as much as I was. But I love seeing that now. My girls, both of them, they be like, can I wear a hair wrap? You know?
Nice hair wrap, by the way.
Thank you. Nice. Shout out to Lisa Love and
Ooh,
Love Raps.
Love Raps in the building.
Love Raps. Did you ever get your wrap?
I did not.
We about to take a break. We're going to call Lisa Love. On the break, this is The Choir. We'll be right back.
Yeah.